Hi, my name's Lee Thurburn, and I'd like to take you on a journey with me of my experience building vibe-coded AI technologies. And just as real brief kind of background, I have been building software with human coders for about the last 13 years, at least 10. It's been a long time. And all of that time, up until summer of last year, I've had at least part-time and most of that time full-time, one person, either in Serbia or in Montenegro, a couple of different guys that are really great guys, writing software for me. And I was able to create a lot of software. This was before the age of vibe coding and AI coding tools. And I created some really good software, but the process was extremely slow. And last summer, I came across the Base 44 platform. Many of you have heard of that. Many of you probably have used it. And I was amazed at how much I could accomplish in a really short time frame. As you know, Base 44 is fabulous at generating a framework for an application. And so I took an application, which I'm going to show you a new version of here briefly in just a second. I took an application that I had built on manually, and I began building it on Base 44, and within about 2 days realized that it was going to be such a dramatically faster build than what I had been doing that I let the man go that was the developer that I had at the time. Hated to do that. He was a great guy. But rather than spend a couple of $1,000s a month on an offshore development specialist, a programmer, I spent what I thought would end up being $25 or so on the Base 44 platform. Well, if you've done much development on Base 44, you know that unless you're building a really, really simple application, 25 to 50 bucks a month is not going to get you much time and iterative development cycles on their platform. So very quickly, I found that in addition to my time being needed, it was also fairly expensive to build on Base 44. Over a period of several months, about 4 months, 5 months, from say July through November-ish, I built an application that was very, I'm going to guess, because you can't really tell with Base 44 how many lines of code the application is. It's really difficult. They did not have that capability to just tell you. I'm going to guess it was in excess of 200,000 lines of code. And so, as you can imagine, that's a fairly substantial application on Base 44. And I ran into a number of really serious problems, which probably you have run into as well. One of which was that the development AI in Base 44 got extremely slow. In fact, it would get so slow that it would time out and just completely shut down and not be able to finish a request for refactoring a function or a process or building a page. And that ultimately is one of the challenges that caused me to really become frustrated with Base 44. If you have a small application, you may not be confronting that problem. But if you have a large application, you almost certainly are confronting that problem. Well, the other thing that happened is Base 44 got purchased by Wix. It had previously been an independent company. And Wix, for some reason, I don't know the justification, I'm sure they had what they thought was a good reason, decided to change the underlying software development platform that Base 44 worked on and that ran Base 44. And that meant that I was going to have to completely refactor all of my code, 200,000 or so plus lines of code, and so that it would work on their new underlying software development platform. And there were two problems with that. Number one, it would be very time consuming because the application was already very large. I actually tried to do that and it was just impossible to get it to happen. But second, if I had done it, it would have been hugely expensive. At my peak on Base 44, I was probably spending $500, $600, $700 a month on edit cycles. And while as the application kind of matured, that slowed down, it still was very expensive. And so between the slowness of the development and the fact that they changed the underlying code base or development platform on which Base 44 worked, they forced me in either January or February to actually shut down my application if I didn't convert it over. Well, I could see that coming, and so I began developing an alternative. And the alternative is to use Cloudflare as the development environment. Now, Cloudflare is a software development platform, but it's a whole lot more. It's a deployment environment. Base 44 is a software development platform that does all the hard work for you, where you just basically tell it what you want it to build, and it lays out the pages, it writes the code, it develops the database tables and schemas and connects everything together for you. Cloudflare does not have that built. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can actually, if you feel like you might either have already matured in your vibe coding skills and you would like to have a much higher level of control over what your application does, I'm going to show you how you can build the same kind of thing on Cloudflare. It is not as intuitive. There's a few things you're going to have to learn, but what I'm going to do first is I'm going to show you the applications that I've built, and I think that you're going to be relatively impressed with the scope. These are pretty much enterprise class applications, and I say pretty much. There's one caveat that I would say they don't have to be a true enterprise class application, and that's a completely evolved sub-user management system. Other than that, the applications are enterprise class applications. But I'm going to show you what I've built, and then I'm going to actually start the project of building a Base 44 type of platform on Cloudflare, which I'm going to add to my existing technology. And it's the building of this Base 44 style or type of platform as an actual service that I can offer to other people. That is going to be a video series on YouTube that I'm going to do to show you how to do that. Now, I don't know that you'll want to do that, but the process is going to be one I think that you'll find interesting. If this vibe coding thing is at all of interest to you, I think you'll find the process interesting. You may learn a few things along the way, but you're going to see me actually develop a Base 44 type of platform that becomes integrated into the rest of what I've built. So first of all, what have I built? Well, I built xbot77.com. Now, this home page that you're looking at right now is actually very flexible. I'm going to change it because right now I have it focused on a field service management software functionality that it provides because I'm marketing that. But I actually have decided to break that out as a separate system. But anyway, I'm going to show you the xbot77 system, which is a very broad-based technology. It's got agents. You can build agents and deploy them. You can build workflows. It has a complete customizable CRM, accounting system, a whole bunch of things. This is actually, xbot77 is actually, if you were to integrate QuickBooks and Salesforce, that's what xbot77 is, and that's what I built. And I'm going to show you that in just a moment. The next thing I want to show you is the Code Sherpa. Now, if you've had issues building on Base 44, or in fact any kind of vibe coding using an AI, it doesn't matter whether you're talking about Claude or Cursor or one of the ChatGPT models, if you've been using those and you have a large application, without doubt you have confronted the issue of the process slowing down and maybe even coming to a stop until you launch a fresh assistant or chat session for the build. And the reason that happens, of course, is because the context history, the memory of the AI gets filled. And as it gets filled with all this history of the code build, it gets slower and slower because it has to swap that data in and out, and it starts making mistakes, in addition to going extremely slow. So the Code Sherpa actually handles that problem and makes your development go so much faster because it learns your software, and it has an interactive process where you ask it for certain things, it builds a prompt, you give that to the AI of your choice, Cursor, ChatGPT, Claude, or Grok, or whatever. You give that, and then that system returns the edits that you then insert into your application. So the Code Sherpa is a fabulous product. Field Agent Pro is actually a specialized sort of version of the things that I've built, and it's not the Code Sherpa, but of XBot 77, designed specifically for a field services type of business, plumbers, electricians, pool supplier, pool service people, whatever. Anybody that has a company where you have trucks on the road that go out and perform jobs at businesses or houses, a residential, Field Agent Pro is designed to help you. And then the first application that I built, the thing that I started back in the summer of last year, that I switched off of my developers, my human developers, and started doing with Base 44, is Car Fleet Tools. And Car Fleet Tools, my wife and I are hosts on Turo. We have a small fleet of cars. And the process of creating an accounting presentation so that I could look at the individual P&Ls on a car-by-car-by-car basis, you can do that on QuickBooks, but it's incredibly challenging to do. And QuickBooks does not have a simple import process where you can import data that you export from Turo and then use that to create accounting entries. And that's what I did. I created a customized system for that. That is actually part of XBot 77. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click back over here, and I'm just going to go ahead and go into the XBot 77 system. So if you just imagine that you clicked on login and then you went through the login process, you would land on a business command center. Now this business command center is basically a dashboard where you can customize the dashboard to show you the kinds of key performance indicators and other metrics that would be pertinent for your particular business, and it gets that data out of the rest of the XBot 77 system. Over on the left-hand side, you see a menu where you have CRM and workflows and so forth, and each one of these allows you to sort of jump into a part of the system. Now I'm going to click on the AI agents because this is actually the first part of the system that I built, and you'll see that the page layout looks a little different because I have not yet fully integrated the new layout, but here we're actually on the user system, and I'm just going to real quickly show you the kinds of things that we have. We have basically it lands directly on the agents page where you can create new agents, but you can create agents, you can connect, you can build agents on ChatGPT using different models, and you can customize the agents, you can configure them in many different ways. That's actually the core thing that I started building. And then I added workflows. And so you'll see a button here for workflows, which was also on the main menu previously. Workflows takes you to another part of the system where you can actually go in and build workflows. And workflows allow you to create forms and connect up emails and collect data, so you can have a form that you collect information and basically it goes to the next form and then goes to the next form, so you can string forms together. You can have functions like send a text message, send an email, send it to a person. There's all kinds of things that you can do with workflows. So first I added agents, then I added workflows, and then I began adding other things like file storage and so forth. I added a complete and powerful CRM system. And so if I click on contacts, Here it takes us to the CRM system, and there's different views that you can set your CRM up as. And so I have a whole bunch of people in here that are tests. But if I come down, maybe just scroll down a ways. So here's somebody named Timmy Tankert. So I go to Timmy Tankert, and that's the CRM record. This is actually every bit as powerful and capable as what you would find on either HubSpot or Salesforce, but you have a complete CRM system where you can upload contacts, you can add contacts, you can create an unlimited number of very flexible types of custom fields, you can send bulk emails out, and then there's projects. And projects are another part of the system where you can have ongoing conversations with an AI. If I go back to the Business Command Center, I'm now going to kind of jump back up and show you just again from the Business Command Center perspective what things can be done. So you can jump directly into the CRM, you can go to workflows, AI agents. We have a complete accounting system. This is like QuickBooks. So if I go into the accounting system, you'll see that we have accounting tools. These are all the things like charts of accounts and importing credit cards and creating balance sheets. There's an invoicing system where you can create invoices, you integrate with Stripe, and you have accounts receivable stuff. We have customer tools where we have accounts receivable, managing customers, importing customers. We track vendors. We have a field operations module for people that are in the field. We have text messaging. We have the ability to set up profitability account centers. I mean, there's just a whole bunch of things. It's a very powerful, very full-featured accounting system, and it literally for 99% of small and medium-sized businesses is going to do everything that you would need to have it do, absolutely everything. I actually have in works preparing a human resources and payroll module that is not yet added, but that's something that I have coming in the near future. You can go directly into car fleet tools. We have a lease intelligence system, which is for attorneys. These are all the kinds of things that XBot 77 has done, or that I've built on XBot 77. Now, I'm going to go to Code Sherpa next, and I'm just going to go ahead and jump into Code Sherpa. And again, we're just jumping in because I've already logged in. Code Sherpa is your AI-enabled software development accelerator. It is the extended memory for the AI that you're working. And again, it doesn't matter whether you're using Claude or ChatGPT or anything else. They all run out of memory. And this handles that. And basically what you do is you build a stack of analyzed data about your application. So when you create an account, you go through a quick start process. And as you do, we award you tokens that you can use later to run the various analytical processes on your own application that you're developing. So once you do that, you end up with about 3.5 million tokens. So basically what you do with the Code Sherpa is you create a project. Now I have 3 different projects in here, one for Field Agent Pro, one for the Code Sherpa, and one for the XBot 77 platform. I'm going to click on the XBot 77 platform, and I'm just going to show you. We have about 2,500 functions in the system, and as I scroll down and look at the actual worker, I'm going to actually I don't have this showing exactly the way I wanted to show it to you, but each one of these workers, now this is where we're talking about the Cloudflare system. Cloudflare, which I'm going to bring you to in just a moment, Cloudflare uses what they call workers, and you can easily think of that as like a virtual server. And a worker is a deployment platform on which you have connected databases, you can put code, you can build websites, you can build applications. Everything that you need to build a very functional application is contained within a worker. And you can actually spread that application across multiple different workers so that the code base doesn't get too terribly large on any one worker. That's a sort of a redundancy and efficiency architectural thing that you'll often want to do with a large application. And so each one of these workers talk to each other and share workload. And basically the following workers I have set up. I have one for the public domain, the root domain. I have one for an admin section where I have the ability to control a lot of administrative variables on the use of our system. The main worker that people log into is the users worker. And then I have a worker specifically for the CRM and for storage and for workflows and a directory. And then Carfleet Tools has a worker. That's a pretty good size one. Money, which is the accounting system, has a money and a money tools, two different workers that comprise the accounting system. The attorney lease tool system, the command center, each have workers. The one that's under development is the HR, PR, payroll, human resources, and payroll worker. Also another worker that's under development is the sub-user system that I'm building. This is an early version of the Code Sherpa. This is actually deprecated. I'm just not using it. And then I have a worker for managing the tokens system. Now each one of these workers, and I'm going to go ahead and jump back up here and go into projects. Each one of these workers is basically a self-contained code base. Now, I've gone into the Code Sherpa worker. All of Code Sherpa is in one worker. And in this case, we have about 450 functions. And so if I scroll down here, this is the worker. I'm just going to go ahead and click on it to go look at the details about the worker. And here again, 450 functions. And as I come down, you'll see that the system gives us information about the worker. We have worker details and function index. The functions are the code base. We analyze the function health. This is all, if you're not into this kind of thing, this is not terribly exciting, but if you're into it, this is where the magic happens. First of all, we do a backup of a system. We take code off of the worker and we bring it in and do a backup. And then when we do a backup, I'm going to just click on this backup. I misspelled Tuesday. When I click on this backup, you'll see that we have the ability, once there's a backup, to click index functions from this backup. And so this particular worker has 69,119 lines of code. That's a pretty good size worker. That's actually the entire code base for the Code Sherpa. Once we do a new backup, we click index functions, and then the system goes through a process of indexing all of the functions that are on that worker. And the indexed functions are now, or will then be shown on the function index. So if I go ahead and click view functions, this is going to open the function index. And again, you'll see 436 workers, but some of the functions I have classified as ignore because they're not critical in any way, shape, or form. So all of the functions are listed, and there's a huge number of them. And so these functions are listed, and then we go through a process of creating AI jobs for functions that we select. That's an analysis. Then we run the analysis, and then that updates the system so that when we decide to go pull code for ongoing development, the system has an analysis. I can get sidetracked here, so I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to do too much there. I'm stopping there. And actually, Field Agent Pro, if we just jump into Field Agent Pro just quickly, this is a dashboard of information for a company that is like maybe running plumbing trucks or electrician trucks. This is what Field Agent Pro does, and then Carfleet Tools, if I jump into it just to show you sort of kind of what it has in it, I need to go ahead and click on the Carfleet Tools section. So we have accounting, we have basically this is accounting and stuff. So bottom line, I'm going to go ahead and close this, and I'm going to close this, and I'm going to leave the. I'm going to go ahead and close the Xbox 77. I'm going to leave the Code Sherpa open. So that's what I've built. And what I want to do is I want to show you how I've built all of that. And I'm going to tell you quite just right out of the gate, you cannot build this on base 44. It cannot handle this level of complexity and interrelatedness and just the size. Base 44 cannot handle this kind of an application. So if whatever application you're building has even remotely the potential to grow to something of this scale, then you're on the wrong platform. You need to be on something like Code Sherpa, where you have the ability to have granular control of the code. Okay, so this is my intro video. The next video I'm going to focus on, I'm going to end this video, but the next video I'm going to focus on is going to jump right into setting up this base 44 alternative on Cloudflare. So I'll see you in the next video.